he has the chapter on sales and marketing, and Peter brings up a line which I now kind of parrot, is the field of dreams line. If you build it, they will come. That's a fallacy, right? And so it's like every company, every idea that you kind of all these successful companies, there is some version of sales, right? And if it's a consumer product that like you can't actually do one-to-one sales for, that's called marketing, right? And so it's like actually it's like you're trying to like mass market consumer psychology. How can you actually pitch something that really resonates with people to bring them in?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's enterprise or something that's a little bit more narrow, then it's a hand-to-hand combat of sales. And so like the most underrated skill in Silicon Valley is sales. And I think for engineers like who I think typically are more systems thinkers, deterministic, sales sounds really frustrating because it's extremely messy because you're dealing with real people who are extremely complex. They're irrational or can be rational, depends on the day.
Right.
And I think the most useful thing is if you think about games, whether it's a board game or a video game, there's a concept of the meta and the strategy that you need to figure out how to do it. And I think if you reshift sales as a category, whatever you're trying to do, whether it's internal or external, and you just think of it as like a game, it actually starts to become a little bit more systems thinking and a little bit more deterministic and actually can start to give energy. But going back to the point is if you're ultimately having to sell humans are, it's draining, right? Like talking to another person. And so, maybe you're naturally a little bit more introverted. I'm actually extremely introverted. But I play an extrovert on TV. The thing is though, it's like, it requires some level of extroversion to go and actually play this game. And so that's where I think sales gets this huge, kind of like misconception within Silicon Valley, although, experienced people get this and Peter Thiel explaining it is important. But especially as we talk about Web3 and crypto, it's like the least sales-oriented tech category that I've ever been a part of, because people kind of have this fallacy of like, oh, well, if I just build this beautiful blockchain, everyone will just naturally adopt it because the technology is better, right? And if you actually look at a lot of the successful companies, projects, whatever, in terms of tractions, total number of sales, they're actually really good at sales, right? Like one of the memes that exists is like Polygon, which I think has done an amazing job with all these partnerships. Why? Because they've actually done the sales, right? Not because necessarily the technology is better or something like that. And so I think that's one piece of advice I always give to entrepreneurs, like especially when I'm angel investing, is you have to will the thing into existence through sheer force of personality and sales. Like the likelihood that you just like build this beautiful product and then everyone just kind of agrees that we should all use this and it just takes off and viral is just like it's like fake thinking. And actually, in most cases, I actually think if you peel back the onion behind most apps or kind of like these overnight success stories, there was some amazing sales or marketing at the beginning that they really nailed and they hit that seam. And yeah, then they got this kind of like really nice tailwind on their growth. But it really, really comes down to is like, can you actually figure out how to sell those initial people or market to those initial people?